Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for watching and for being on my channel. I really appreciate it. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about this comment that this INFJ mom left on my channel. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry I didn't write it down. But she said, "Hi, I'm an INFJ mom with an INFJ daughter." How amazing is that? How weird is that? "How can I best guide her and teach her about the special thing we have and share?" Now, I thought that was an amazing comment. I really was so pleased. I was so happy that this INFJ mom, wants to nurture and grow and build this beautiful relationship with her INFJ daughter. I was so grateful to hear that, and I was so happy because, as you guys might or might not know, I'm afraid to have kids. I think that's one of the reasons I haven't had any kids yet, is because I'm afraid that, I won't be able to do the best job possible with them, and I'm gonna, have a hard time nurturing them and helping them grow in this crazy, terrible world that we live in, right? But anyways, that's a side story. But the reason I wanted to talk about that comment specifically is because I'm sure that's a very rare thing that an INFJ mom has an INFJ daughter, right? But I'm sure there's a lot of you who have INFJ daughters or INFJ moms, right? And so I just wanted to kind of share that, some of the thoughts I have on how you can, as she said, nurture that relationship. It's very special to have someone like that in your life. Not that I'm saying to have INFJs in your life, just to have a daughter, a beautiful daughter that you can nurture and grow. Now, in general, the first thing I would say about daughters is the self-esteem thing. Like, that's one of the most important things I love my mother to death. She is the best. She's really one of the reasons why I'm so strong and powerful, right? And why I have such a powerful feminine energy. She is absolutely the reason for that. But also, I had to do a lot of work on it because she herself hates her body and thinks she's ugly and, she thinks she's fat and all this, and says this all the time. Now, it's really interesting because I read this somewhere where this mother used to do this to her daughters all the time. "You're so beautiful, you're so beautiful. I'm so ugly," right? And the daughters used to think, well, we look exactly the same in a lot of ways because mothers and daughters do. So how can you be ugly and I can be beautiful? And that means I am ugly as well. So that's one of the things that I learned, which is really powerful, that if a mother, when sharing genetics for the daughter, where everyone always says to me, "You look exactly like your mother," always, all the time. I'm like a carbon copy of my mother, right, when she was younger. And so if my mother says to me that I'm beautiful and she says to herself that she's ugly, how can I be beautiful if she says to herself that she's ugly and I look like her and everyone says I look like her, right? And so I had to kind of reconcile that for the longest time and understand that, there is a reason for that, and she hates herself. It's not that she's actually ugly, she just hates herself. But when I was a child, it didn't make any sense to me. I hated myself. I thought I was ugly. I have really thin lips, and my mom used to say that, and like, you have thin lips like me, that's too bad. And I think to myself, oh God, really? Oh man, another thing that I'm going to add to my list of things that I hate about myself. So that's one of the main things I would say. Obviously, I'm sure you know this as a mother, but do not degrade yourself in front of your daughters and expect them to not believe that they have the same qualities as you, especially physically, because they are a product of your genetics and they look probably very similar to you. So if you're ugly in your mind, they're ugly too. That's just a common thing. It's just a really logical conclusion, right? And so, I started doing yoga and I started doing a lot of meditation, and that's how I began to love myself the way I look, with all of my quirks and all of my flaws. But it took me a long time to get here, right? I'm 34 now, and finally, I believe, like in my 30s, I love myself as I am, without worrying about it. And people are always like, "Oh, you should go on a diet," or say stupid things like that. "Oh, you're eating a lot." And I'm like, yeah, I am. I love my belly. I love my belly. I love my paunch. I love my body. I love my curves. All that stuff, right? And so always saying that I like the way I am. I don't want to change, right? And so that comes from years of practice, though, years of work on my body and my self-esteem. But a lot of it was, unfortunately, degraded by my mother's poor self-esteem for herself. And so if you are a mother, please be careful of that, right? One of the other things I really wanted to share as an INFJ, if I had an INFJ mom or any kind of mom, one of the things I would always tell her if I was going to give her advice, that I wish that they wouldn't have told me so often that I wasn't good enough to be the way I am, right? because we are very strange as INFJs, right? And it is hard. I can imagine it was really hard for my parents to raise a child like me. I was very difficult. I was a rebel. I was running around all over the place. I had all these random ideas. I didn't want to do all the things that other kids wanted to do. I wanted to live a different life. I still do. And it's still hard for them. I understand completely. But I wish as a child, when I wanted to become a writer and I wanted to live a different life, and I did not want to do all the things that everyone else wanted. I did not want to go to university. I thought it was a waste of time. I already knew what I wanted to be. I want to be a writer. Why waste my time? But obviously I was molded to realize, okay, writing is a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's never going to get you anywhere, blah, blah, blah. I wish they had just told me, yeah, great, keep on writing, but always have a side job. Like, why don't you just get a side job so that gives you the money to live your life as a writer, right? Or things like that. There's a lot of things where I was told, you're very strange or you're very weird. Why can't you just be like everyone else? Now, I know they loved me. I'm not saying anything about that, and they showed me a lot of love in a lot of different ways, but I also understand I was very weird and different, so they would always be wondering about me to themselves, why is she like that? Even now I know they do exactly the same thing. They're I'm roaming around the world doing these random things, being a digital nomad, writing and doing all these videos, and they think to themselves, other friends of mine, daughters of friends of mine, don't do these things. They're married, they have kids, they live in a suburban house, they have a mortgage, they're planning for retirement, blah, blah, blah. That's what they do. Why aren't you doing that? And I say, I get it. I get the confusion in their head. But I hope that they would just believe or understand or trust the fact that I am an intelligent human being that is making these decisions based on intelligent information that I've gathered over a long period of time. I'm not just willy-nilly getting up and picking up things and going off to Thailand because I'm yeah, that's a good idea. Let me do that. No, I've thought about it a lot. Over time, I hope that they will realize that I am not just doing this with no purpose, or I'm not doing all these random things just because I want to spite them or hurt them. It's because there is a purpose to it. There's a reason for it. And INFJs will never make a decision without very good reason for it, right? So I hope that you as a mother will look at your INFJ daughter, or you as a daughter will look at your mother and understand that there's always a reason for everything that we're doing. We're not just doing things to hurt you. We would never do things to hurt anyone. There is no way in hell. I always tell my parents, I never make a decision because I want to hurt you. I'm making a decision because it's the best decision for myself, for me and my happiness. And that is paramount because you guys are not going to care about it. I'm going to be miserable if I had to get married and live in a suburban house and have children and all that stuff. Not that I'm saying that's not a great path for other people, but it's not the path for me. I'd be dead on the inside if I had to do that, right? I can't do it. I refuse to do it. I physically cannot do it, right? Right now, at least in this moment in time. And so why would you want me to do something that I'd be really, really unhappy doing, right? A lot of random thoughts in this video, but I also want to share one last thing, is that, whoever you are, your mother, daughter, whatever your sign might be, or your type might be, INFJ, INTJ, whatever, I don't really give a rat's ass what the word itself is, because that changes over your lifetime as well. The main thing I would tell, or I'd want to give as an advice to you guys, is that try to learn as much as possible, because I know an INFJ can be very quirky and mysterious and complex. I understand that. But try to learn as much as possible about your daughter. If you're an INFJ mom, or your whatever mom, and you have an INFJ daughter, just try to learn as much as possible about her. Learn the way she kind of looks at the world. Learn why she is so quirky, Understand her motivations and reasoning for doing things. There's always a reason behind everything. And if she trusts you, she will share the reason with you. Now, I trust my parents. I've told them over and over again what my reasoning is for doing all the different things that I'm doing. There's a reason for it, a very good reason, right? And I've shared that with them several times. But they don't listen because they think that the reason is flawed. Just because it doesn't resonate with them doesn't mean that the reason itself is flawed. That reason resonates with me, so that means it's the right reason for me, right? I hope this makes sense. I hope that I'm making sense in this video. So try to understand the reasoning for what your INFJ daughter wants. Why, or son even, right, obviously. Why are they doing things the way they're doing? Like INFJ child. Why? What is the reasoning behind them? It would be one of the most important things to them, if they do trust you, for them to share the reasoning with you. I love it when I'm able to share my reasoning, my thought processes with my parents, and very rarely they do understand. And I'm sitting there and they're understanding me. I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is like the best moment ever, right? And as I get older and I become better at communication, I'm able to explain it to them better. Now, if your daughter is very young, she is going to have a hard time communicating with you because as INFJs, it's easier for us to write things rather than speak. So perhaps that could be one way that you could communicate with her better is ask her to write letters to you, write emails to you, write texts to you rather than communicating face to face. Maybe you should be more comfortable with that. I don't know what your relationship is like. But that is the epitome of it. It took me a long time to become comfortable communicating in this way, understanding what my thought processes are, and purveying it to people without losing my train of thought. Although it does happen still, right? Again, I hope this makes sense to you guys. I just really thought it was a beautiful comment, and I just loved it so much. I really wanted to share it with you guys. I hope it does make sense to you guys. I'm sorry I only use INFJ daughters and sons throughout. Just pretend I'm an idiot, okay? Alright, thank you again so much for watching. Thank you for being on my channel. Thank you so much for being around. And if you guys have any questions at all, please message me anytime. I'm here to answer your questions. And I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.